entitled 6 p.m. Tip-Off at Parley Pavilion. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you neighbor to neighbor, bringing you resources and what you need to know. For information on fire recovery resources, recovery hubs, and available services, call 211 for the City of Los Angeles and 311 countywide. Aid distribution locations, repopulation updates, and safety rules are constantly changing. Visit the LA City and LA County websites for the latest. If you'd like to sign up for the county's free debris removal, fill out a right of entry form, or get a list of disaster recovery centers that are still active, please visit recovery.lacounty.gov or call the debris hotline at 844-347-3332. If you're vulnerable to mudslides with rain in the forecast, free sandbags are being offered. Go to lacounty.pw/sandbags to find out where to get them. Businesses who have lost their facilities due to the fires can use a regional online source to get free or discounted locations. Whether you're interested in donating or finding space, you can visit the business-to-business Space Share portal at spaceshare.lacounty.gov. Additional LA County small business support and programs can be found at opportunity.lacounty.gov. Praying, advocating, and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
And this is what it feels like. And this is what it feels like. Look, the only reason I survive, cause it's special first. You get successful, then it gets stressful thirst. Gonna test you, see what your texture's worth. Diamonds and pipes, one of them pressure burst. Street, still I get checks and spurts. I'm for peace, but before I get pressed, I murk. Better days prayed for, but expecting worse. At this level, boy, I'm just less concerned. Cruising in the six, looking at the proceeds of rap music on my wrist. Drop another mixtape, my booming out this young Malcolm. I'm the leader of the movement out this love. And this is what it feels like. Reach a level, make you question, is it real life? All of good, all of real tight.
Too young to be missing all these people. Where are all these people? Where's Nipsey at? Where's Tupac at? Where's Easy at? Man, this is what it feels like. KBLA Talk 1580. Dominique DiPrima here. Okay, so this normally we turn the page here, go to national politics, but I didn't want to cut you off. You're about to give me an example, so I wanted to let you go ahead and give an example that you wanted to give.
Thank you. Okay, so last year, towards the beginning of the year, a motion was put into place at City Council which would take away money from a program that would feed seniors and allocate that money towards LAPD overtime. Marquise Harris Dawson and Heather Hutt both voted for that. And so when we talk about, you had talked about SNAP and some of these other food programs, the fact that they voted for that, to remove that money from, again, feeding seniors and to allocate that towards LAPD overtime, which for people that don't know, the LAPD's overtime budget is $266 million. They're actually making a request for this year, this upcoming fiscal year, to bump it up to $318 million. And they already exceed it. They're the department that exceeds their budget. Last year, they exceeded it by $160 million, if I'm not mistaken. They did that. And in the same week, Marquise Harris Dawson was at an event with a free food program, Black Panther sweater. And so,
well, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage here because I don't have the details on that. And
sure,
Harris Dawson isn't here to defend himself. I know that he's, put forth a lot of good and important legislation. I don't know the particulars of that, so I'm not gonna.
Sure,
I'm not gonna argue.
But it's just an example that I'm providing. Like, again, the fact that they would do that, and I've asked him about it, and he runs away. And so when
well, I mean, honestly, no shade, but I don't blame people from running away from you because you kind of go hard and they're never going to look good in that exchange. There's no politician anywhere except possibly Gina Viola who's going to look good in an exchange with you when you start questioning them. So, I mean, I'm not saying that they should, but I don't. I probably would.
What I would
you
hope
see
for is
me with my running shoes on. There goes Jason. Let me get the hell out of here before I ruin my political career.
But I'm more than happy to have the conversation. Like if he would come, I have a podcast called People City Propaganda. If Marquise Harris Dawson would like to come on that podcast and answer some of these questions, more than happy.
But to be fair, would you be fair? I think you make a lot of good points, Jason, but I also think that you're not really fair in the way you deal with.
I disagree.
Yeah, agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree on this one, but I do believe that I am asking questions that people do want answers for, in which they.
But a lot of times it's how you ask the question. I know it's not your job to baby people. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I'm a caregiver to my 2.5-year-old. Yes.
Okay. Well, so that's literally baby. So I'm like, ooh, yeah. Maybe it's sleep deprivation. I don't know. Okay. But I'm just, the great NBC newscaster Sylvia Chase. I worked with her when I was first starting in this business, and I was a junior reporter. And she said to me, you find the kind way to ask the tough question. And I know you're not a reporter in that sense, so maybe that's not your job. But when people feel constantly attacked, they're much less likely to answer your questions.
Yes, this I know. But I do try. People see like online, like, oh, look at him. He's like bird dogging. He's yelling at them. He's going in on them. But what leads up to that point?
Do you think, okay, for example, you got into it with Kevin De Leon.
Yes.
And I argued repeatedly on this show that he attacked you because that's what I saw with my eyes.
I think most people that watch that video would agree.
But a lot of people say, even though people are mad at Kevin De Leon and were very glad that he didn't get reelected, some folks were sympathetic of him because of the way you were going at it with him.
But people also have to remember, if we put it into context, that man had been running for 2 months. Like he had vanished off the planet. And he hadn't had any public appearances. If Kevin De Leon would have said, hey, you know what, I'm going to come into the black community and hold a community hearing and let people voice their concern. No, I'm just saying, but he didn't, right? He had been running.
Yeah, and he came on this station with Tavis. I think he got his full fill,
and Tavis did an excellent job of dissecting him.
Right.
But again, what happens is a lot of these politicians, I will approach a Marquise Harris Dawson, a Heather Hutt, and other politicians. I will approach them at an event and ask them these questions. And if they don't answer them, well, then the next time I see you, I'm going to bring some heat, and I'm gonna say,
yeah. Well, I mean, how's that working out?
Why are they so afraid?
How's that working out for you, Jason?
Why are they so afraid?
Well, nobody wants to be yelled at. I mean, it may be they don't want to answer your question too. I'm not going to speak for them on that, but
that's certainly it. They don't want to answer these questions.
Nobody wants to be yelled at, though.
So here you are,
made to look, stupid. Nobody wants that.
Here you are representing hundreds of thousands of people. You're their representative. You're their voice, and you are speaking on behalf of those people. And so when I confront you with something that's detrimental to that community, why can't you answer those simple questions?
But I've never seen the People's City Council or you personally write, wow, Council Member Marquise Harris Dawson is doing a great job trying to get cops out of stops. Wow, Council Member Heather Hutt has done a great job supporting, all kinds of different events in the community, including, the Black Lives Matter 10th anniversary. Wow, we should celebrate that. She's really accessible. You can find Heather Hutt walking around the community on any given day. That's pretty cool. I never hear any of that. I only hear, what you're offering
I hear
here.
Plenty of that.
Where? Not in the mainstream media. Not on the far left.
No, but I hear plenty of that on the left, in the middle, and sometimes on the right. Like people. So
no, I haven't heard it on the right. That must be a different right than the right that I.
I'm referring to like the Tracy Parks and the John Lees. John Lee, who's a close friend of Heather Hutt. But anyway, so I just feel like, again, we hear that plenty. What we don't hear is these critiques.
Do you think it's your job to protect black women as a black man?
Absolutely. Yes.
Do you think you're doing that?
Absolutely. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Right. Yes. Because at the end of the day, when you look at somewhere like Skid Row, Karen Bass taking pictures and hugging up on Kevin De Leon, the week that ballots
do you
are going
guys still
out.
have a? I don't know if I agree with that characterization, but is there a legal matter pending?
Absolutely, yes. So Kevin De Leon.
So you can't talk. You can't talk.
I can have a.
So where is it? Where are we with that?
Currently, we have a trial at the end of April. Kevin De Leon's been running from a deposition for many months.
Trial.
Civil trial.
Okay.
So I sued him for assault and battery. My lawyer is Dermot Givens, who has represented Baba Kili,
Right.
Melina Abdullah. And so, yeah, I sued him, and then he sued me as soon as deposition date was set. He sued me for assault, battery, stalking, and I can't remember.
So there'll be two trials.
It'll be all together.
Oh, it'll be combined into
it'll
one.
Be combined
Wow.
into one. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that happens at the end.
Real Housewives of the
April.
movement.
Yeah. But yeah, he's been running from deposition. I mean, he's
Okay, and before we run out of time, I also want to ask you, just follow up on that situation with Nathan Hochman, our district attorney. You were protesting at his swearing in, right?
yeah.
What happened with that?
Hadn't even got to level of protesting. We literally crossed the street. They told us that the street was closed. I know you had Pastor Q on here that explained that situation, which was that they said that the curb was closed, the sidewalk was closed.
Yeah,
even though
I don't know if you can close a curb.
I don't
Never
know.
heard of that.
But-
I guess you can do anything if you're the DA. So what happens next? Are you? They detained you, right?
Yeah, they detained me for 20 minutes, released me, didn't explain why they put me into cuffs, forcibly removed me from my child.
Is there follow up? Are you suing them? Are they suing you? Are they putting charges against you?
No charges were pressed. I'm still wanting to know why I was arrested. It's a question that I've asked Jim McDonald. I asked him as he was walking through the MLK parade.
You just have a way of finding folks.
Yeah, I do. I pay attention. And so, yeah, I mean, if McDonald would like to answer, if the LAPD would like to answer, they won't. But again, I've been...
So right now you're just on a fact-finding phase of trying to get an official answer to why you were detained for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I know why I was... I mean, I without them saying it, I know I'm a threat to the LAPD. I'm a threat to their legitimacy, to their power, to their to them. And it's not just... That incident is just... It's a series of incidents that have happened since I've become outspoken against the LAPD. In fact, my partner of 18 years was rear-ended last June by an LAPD detective on her way home from work. So there's a series of things that...
And you don't think it was an accident?
No. I mean, how...
She okay?
Yeah, she was fine. Yeah. It wasn't a serious accident, but the LAPD detective was in a unmarked vehicle. And so... Anyway, so these different types of instances happen, and what I've seen is since McDonald has taken over, and again, I don't know if you had this conversation, the fact that McDonald was chosen over a black woman in Imada Tingrides, I don't know if that conversation's been had here.
Yes, it's been had quite a bit, to be honest with you.
But
and so
she chose Jim McDonald,
right.
who
we talked about it a lot, to be honest with you.
Who's just been horrible, and we've definitely seen. Similarly, on the national level, locally, we've seen LAPD now kind of they've been unleashed, and I think we'll see that coupled with Nathan Hochman.
I don't know that that's new, but yeah, we have a new DA, and clearly
that trifecta.
Clearly, there's a new era.
Yeah, but they're definitely more brazen. And again, I wasn't engaged in protests at the time. I was simply asking a question: why is the sidewalk closed? And they grabbed me.
Right. Well, so. The follow-up right now is just trying to see what their reason is going to be.
They're not going to tell me.
Okay, we're over again. But Molly Bell wants me to ask you, what have black politicians done that pleases you? And she also wants you to go in and read the chat.
I will go back and I know Molly Bell's work through Community Coalition over the police, right?
Community for Control of the Police.
We've met. I think we met at a. We've met at a couple of protests. Anyways, what do I like that black politicians have done?
Yeah, that's what she's asking.
That's a good question. What have I liked that they've done? You know, I don't like to speak positively of politicians that I feel like, again, supported someone like Kevin De Leon.
But if we're critiquing on the basis of policy, surely, rather than personality, surely there must be some policy wins that you can cite that you are pleased with.
I'm not in the business of praising these politicians. So yeah, I mean, even if there was, a couple good things that they've done here. It's like kind of like if you have these rich billionaires, they have a foundation. The foundation does some work. Rick Caruso, for example, does some work. Would you like to say it like, oh, Rick Caruso's foundation has done amazing work, but we all know that it's done to cover up all the bad stuff.
Right. Well, I may have said something along those lines. I don't know about the amazing work because I haven't seen it yet, but I was happy to see him hopefully putting his money toward helping to rebuild Palisades, and
that was supposed to go to like Steve Soroff and these other people too.
Altadena. What do you mean, money?
The money that Steve Soroff and the other guy that Karen Bass had appointed, that money was supposed to come from philanthropy.
Oh yeah, I mean that's another conversation for another day.
Yes.
It's actually kind of not a terrible thing if it means that voters don't have to pay for it, but that's a can of worms.
I can agree with you, but like for people that donated, they assumed that those funds were going to wildfire victims. Well, they were going to the pockets of Steve Soroff.
Yeah, we don't know what they were. But in any case, CW Real Estate says, what's his solutions? He already said revolution. And
absolutely. Yes, I'm a revolutionary.
But revolution is not, a lot of people are seriously thinking we might be looking at that right now, given what's going on in Washington. It's not going to be pretty.
Oh, absolutely.
If it does happen.
No.
And I think if we can make change and not, and have a revolution of consciousness or a revolution, of governance, that would be better than a bloody revolution. I'm always and forever a peacenik.
I think Gil Scott-Heron, the revolution will not be televised, right? Was a phrase.
But it'll be on IG for sure.
No, but I mean, when he said that phrase, he was talking about how it starts here, right? It does start with your own personal consciousness. Mumia Abu-Jamal and other revolutionaries have always talked about it starts within. It starts with changing the way that you view the world, your brain, and that's where it starts. And yes, understanding that it's not an overnight process, it takes time.
Jason Reedy, what's your Instagram or your Twitter? I think you're mainly
Instagram's
on
private. Yeah, you can't find me on there. My Twitter is Axum Selassie, AXUMSELASSIE. I'm Ethiopian, so that's where it comes from. Follow me on there if you want to know about what's going on with LAPD. Constantly critiquing them. It's basically like a hate account for LAPD. But no, I also put other things in there. Like if I'm listening to Laraji or some other folks. But anyways, yeah.
And of course, People's City Council.
Yes, and please follow us on People's City Council. Yes, on Instagram and on Twitter. Yes, I appreciate you having me on and even extending this interview.
Absolutely. Thanks for a lively conversation.
Yes.
That's what we do around here. Unapologetically outspoken, unapologetically progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Who cares about the black community in Altadena? We do. On Saturday, March 8th at 10 a.m., it's the premiere of Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr. This new weekly show will explore the deep roots and resilience of Altadena's black community as we track its recovery and reimagine its future. From relief efforts to rebuilding, we're raising up voices, stories, and solutions to build back Black Altadena better and stronger than ever. It's Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr, every Saturday at 10 a.m. beginning Saturday, March 8th, with an encore presentation, Sundays at noon.
James Farr, the man who is the voice for Black Los Angeles.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la. Can your pad absorb everything and stay fresh? Always Radiant with Flex Foam can. Get up to 0 leaks, 0 odor, and 0 feel. Because Flex Foam is the only pad with a flexible foam core. You heard me, foam. Always Radiant is so thin, it feels like nothing, yet protects like nothing else. Can your pad do that? For up to 100% leak-free protection, try Always Radiant to see what Flex Foam can do for you.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Oh, Downy the rinse change. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash and smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Yes, indeed. Oh, our chat is always robust. If you want to get in there, go to KBLA 1580 and then, go to YouTube and then go to KBLA 1580. Jerry Anderson says to him, praising the politician is reinforcing the system. Honey Brown 24 says, then you aren't moving forward and they will continue to ignore him. I don't see how he will grow. And Willie Frazier, these the type that would criticize the load. Why didn't he turn the whole ocean into wine? 800-920-1580 if you want to say it on the mic. A great conversation. And we welcome voices from different points of view. I'm here for it. Whether you call or whether you, hop on any of the social medias, please follow, like, and subscribe while you're there. We are KBLA 1580 everywhere, and I am at DiPrima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio everywhere. Please comment, have something to say. I put up something yesterday on me and John Wood going at it. I thought you guys would have more to say about it, but so far, no. So it's just, I don't know if it's because of what's happening in Washington that everything feels so extra right now. Like it's, oh no, everybody's dying. Oh no, everything's going crazy. I think it may be partly because of this very hostile and threatening things that are coming out of Washington. But example, Gene Hackman, his wife and his dog were found dead in their home in New Mexico. They're saying foul play is not suspected, but how did the wife, the dog, and the man he was 95. He had a much younger woman. She was only 63. And the dog, they said they did a welfare check and they were all deceased. This fabulous actor and, a long-time artist. So rest in peace to him. I guess and his wife and his dog. I guess we'll find out more. But all of this stuff to me feels just so on 10. The fact that the Supreme Court, and it's crazy because I was watching the news last night, and this just shows you how optimistic I am. They were going to announce what the Supreme Court had said about whether or not the Trump administration was going to be forced to release this $2 billion in foreign aid. The judge, the prior judge, had set a midnight deadline for them to release this money, and they appealed to the Supreme Court. And I was just thinking, well, maybe the Supreme Court will say, Congress has the power of the purse. Maybe the Supreme Court will do the right thing here. They did not. They actually gave him an extension till Friday, the administration, And then I guess they'll make a decision because what they said, they basically just extended his time. What they've done is, given him more time and continued to support these cuts, which I don't know how they could be constitutional. If Congress has the power of the purse and they have designated these dollars for these purposes, the president and his drug-addled billionaire sidekick should not just be able. That's not how our government. Well, let me just say it's not how our government says it works. Trump saying that Mexico and Canada will have their tariffs starting March 4th. That's Monday? Again, this is going to set off a trade war. Trudeau has been clear about that. The Mexican President Sheinbaum has been clear about this. It will set off a trade war. They talked to him. They delayed it. Maybe they can flatter him some more and delay it some more, but I doubt it. And it's now their line. They've all adopted the line that Elon Musk had on the campaign trail, which was there'll be some temporary pain. There'll be temporary pain for consumers. He didn't mean temporary pain for billionaires. He meant temporary pain for people that have jobs like you and me, the middle class, the working class. That's what he meant, temporary pain for us. And that temporary pain is about to get a lot more painful with these tariffs. The price of things will go up. There's already an egg surcharge at Denny's. Where we have seen this administration do absolutely nothing to bring prices down. And now Fox News and the administration, they're all saying, temporary pain for long-term gain. Temporary pain as they cut Medicaid. Temporary pain as they turn over $4 trillion plus to tax cuts for the wealthy while cutting food stamps, aka SNAP, and Medicaid, aka medical care for people who can't afford it, which is almost everyone, but low-income folks, right? We should have Medicare for all. They're going the opposite direction. And hopefully this overreach is going to open eyes. But, I think it gives in light of this budget bill, it gives everything a sort of pallor of urgency and menacing, a menacing vibe. But we're gonna keep working. We're not giving up. We're gonna stay encouraged. KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Consumers and activists are calling for a 24-hour economic blackout tomorrow to protest corporate greed and reduced support for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Additional boycotts of companies like Amazon, Walmart, and Nestle are planned in the coming weeks. Apple is keeping the company's diversity, equity, and inclusion program in place. The company's shareholders voted to forge ahead Tuesday, opposing efforts by conservatives to get rid of the program. President Trump will terminate the Chevron oil lease with Venezuela on March 1st, citing delays in deportee returns. This reverses a Biden-era agreement and could impact Chevron, the second-largest U.S. oil company. And as spring break approaches, popular destinations include Mexico and the Caribbean. Emerging favorites among U.S. travelers are Rio de Janeiro, Curacao, Tokyo, Osaka, and Istanbul, according to Expedia. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, CalHope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man.
The Clippers snapped a 3-game losing streak with a 122-117 win at Chicago. James Harden dropped 30 points. He had 7 3-pointers. The Clippers had a good shooting night from three-point range. They shot 51%. Amir Coffey had 20 points off the bench. The Clippers and Lakers meet up Friday night at Crypto.com. The Lakers are in action tonight against Minnesota. The UCLA women's basketball team, ranked number 2 in the country, had an easy time at Wisconsin last night. UCLA beat Wisconsin by 30, 91-61. Lauren Betts led the Bruins with 26 points and 10 rebounds. She was almost perfect from the floor, making 11 of 12 shots. The Bruins moved into a first-place tie in the Big Ten Conference with 4th-ranked USC. The win last night sets up Saturday's showdown between UCLA and USC, a game that will decide the Big Ten regular season title. 6 p.m. tip-off at Pauley Pavilion. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Ever have one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Ugh, yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance, but Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
There's new reaction following the Trump administration's sweeping efforts to cut the federal workforce.
Fired but not forgotten. The Testimony Project. Bearing witness, breaking silence, building community. KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to amplifying the voices of Black federal workers impacted by the mass firings. Rooted in the Black tradition of testimony, this initiative ensures that those who served us are not erased from history. Through firsthand accounts, investigative storytelling, and community-driven dialogue, we intend to expose injustice, preserve truth, and demand accountability. If you or someone you know has been forced out of federal employment due to the mass firings, please contact us at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or via the open mic feature on the KBLA 1580 app. We want to hear from you and share your story. KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you've struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance so it's as little as $0 a month.
The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with.
Before Zelfie, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelfie helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better.
Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's GOAL to 200-300. GOAL to 200-300.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
And speaking of hate meeting its match, you guys remember the residents of Ohio a couple weeks ago. There was a neo-Nazi group that marched into this place called Lincoln Heights, which is predominantly black, right? This is in Ohio. And the video was all over social media. Nazis marching in a predominantly black area, black people driving them out of that area, forcing them to get back into their cars and get the hell out, while police pretty much protected the Nazis, which we've seen that happen at a lot of these so-called Nazi rallies where, or even progressive rallies where you have so-called counter-protesters who are either white supremacists or who are attacking the progressives, and the police many times will protect the conservative or the very far right wing. And in this case, they appear to be protecting the neo-Nazis that are coming into a town where they don't live, into a section of town where they don't go, to terrorize black people and getting run out of there. And even some county officials were complaining about this. How are you just going to let these neo-Nazis run up in here? They felt that the police should have been protecting the residents of the town, that they should, of that neighborhood or town. It's apparently originally this neighborhood was a town. It was a self-governed black community, which was known as the oldest self-governing black community north of the Mason-Dixon line. That's what it says on the website there. For years, they didn't have, the amenities that you would expect from most towns. And like many black neighborhoods and communities, they have been subjected to poor infrastructure, underinvestment, et cetera, et cetera. Well, so these neo-Nazis march in, right? They run them out. And even the county officials have said the police didn't do enough to get those neo-Nazis out of there, or to hold them accountable, issue tickets, the stuff cops do when they don't want you to protest in a place. They didn't do that stuff. So now the people of this area, Lincoln Heights, have started their own safety and watch program. And they are armed. These are black men with guns, policing their own community. If you drive in there, they're going to check you. It's like a community checkpoint. They'll stop you. They'll check you. They'll do a Nazi check. Some of them wear body armor. Some of them are wearing masks. It's a majority black town. And they say, oh, hell no. Because apparently after this initial neo-Nazi rally in this predominantly black community, they came back. They came back. A truck full of them came back, handing out flyers. And this, no, you don't get to come around here twice. We're drawing a line in the sand. Now, Ohio has an open carry gun law. So they're saying, look, we're within our rights to do this. I can't imagine police tolerating this long term. Armed black men protecting their own community. This guy at Durance Daniels, Durance, I guess, who is the one of the leaders of this group, says, an American protecting his homeland with a firearm is the most American thing we could do, I thought, he says. And if you weren't black, I think that would be the perception. I think that these folks would be heroes in the press and in the media. I don't know if they'll be painted that way, and even by police. I think it's notable because they're taking immediate action, they're protecting theirs, they're armed, and they're not messing around. But it's also notable because of where we are in history right now. White supremacists, hate groups, are emboldened. You have a former member of the Oath Keepers who just declared in their race for governor in the supposedly blue state of California. You've got hundreds and hundreds of self-proclaimed neo-Nazis, people that practice the lie of white supremacy, who have just been pardoned by the President of the United States. And courts are considering whether at least 3 of those individuals have already been rearrested for other things, and the courts are considering whether or not those pardons extend to new crimes, whether they have endless immunity like the president, the immunity of white supremacy. I think that's a new term I just made up. But here's the thing. The responses of black communities, of LGBTQ plus communities, of any community that is vulnerable and targeted by these white supremacists. I mean, I don't know if you want to call that the new Civil War, the Civil Cold War, because in some sense, the litigation of the North and South, the Union and the Confederacy, never ended. I feel like psychologically, mentally, and from a propaganda public information standpoint, the Civil War never ended. Confederate flags never went away. They were never banned or outlawed. Like in Nazi Germany, you just can't have a swastika. Oh, in America, we left to both sides. They have freedom of speech. But like James Baldwin said, and I'm paraphrasing, if your freedom means my extermination, then I'm not with it. So how will black communities in particular, and BIPOC, LGBTQ plus women communities in general, in the bigger picture, how will we respond? How will we respond to The Handmaid's Tale? How will we respond to this new Confederate MAGA agenda and the emboldening of these hate groups? We've seen the rise of hate crimes since the first Trump term. Now we're on Trump 2.0, Trump on steroids, with the billionaire the drug-addled billionaire tech bro in chief, which means everything's moving faster. The rights are being taken away more quickly. They're actually doing out-and-out Nazi salutes. It's not at all subtle. Not that the tiki tortures were subtle, but it's less subtle now. They're more emboldened now. So will more communities do what Lincoln Heights is doing and create their armed patrols? Their citizens' militias? And how will law enforcement respond to that? This is, like I said, a community, a black community that has a history of rebellion, and it's a history that they're proud of. A history of self-reliance, and it's a history that they're proud of. But now you got a U-Haul van full of Nazis and carrying AR-15s and wearing and bearing swastikas, coming right when the kids are getting let out of school, elementary school, blocks away from these armed neo-Nazis, black children hitting the streets. In fact, one teacher said the reason they knew the Nazis were in the neighborhood was because the kids ran back and said something. Let me tell you something. I'm not making predictions, but I cannot imagine a conscious black community in this country tolerating that on a long-term basis. So what does that look like? What does that look like? Especially when we know for sure, documented without a shadow of a doubt, that some of those people who tried to overthrow our government on January 6th of 2021 were law enforcement. That the FBI has put out at least 2 reports raising the alarm about the proliferation, the increase of racist, white supremacists, people that are actually part of anti-black Nazi organizations inside of police departments. What can and should communities do? What would you do What will you do? 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
Fatherhood includes being present during pregnancy and beyond, supporting your partner, advocating for your baby, and ensuring a healthy birth. Black fathers play a key role in reducing maternal and infant health disparities, and your involvement starts during pregnancy. Join the free AIM Fatherhood program today and learn how to support your partner, advocate for your baby's health, and connect with other fathers committed to healthier births. Visit blackinfantsandfamilies.org/fatherhood to get started.
I have a dream today.
The road to freedom wasn't paved with just big moments. It was built day to day, step by step, voice by voice. This February, experience Black History Month through the stories that shape Los Angeles and beyond. KBLA Talk 1580, where Black history lives. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Life blooms in beautiful ways. The Afia Center invites you to celebrate at the end with Red Gala, honoring the strength and resilience of Black women living with HIV. Join us for an evening of empowerment as we launch the Barbara Cambridge Scholarship and kick off Herstory Month with our theme, Life in Full Bloom. Your support helps create vital HIV programming and builds a future where every voice is heard and every story matters. The end with Red Gala, because every flower deserves to bloom. To learn more and to donate, visit theafiacenter.org.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Well, I said it off in the chat. I see Mad Dog Media TV says, sounds like two hate groups clashing to me. Absolutely, it's not. Black love and self-defense is not hate. White supremacists, or people that perpetuate the lie of white supremacy, have a history of kidnapping, killing, lynching, and raping us. We have no such history towards them. These are people who were minding their business while their children were in school, and a group of white supremacists, armed individuals, invaded their neighborhood within a stone's throw of their babies. Honey, that's not two hate groups. That's called patriotic American citizens defending their community against an attack. HW says, if white power and black power sound the same, then your nuance is clearly lost. Not only nuance, history. How about history? Tony is calling me from Santa Clarita. Good morning, Tony.
Hey, Dominique, you know how Trump and the Pentagon and the State Department are saying that they want to reduce troop levels in Europe? I think they're just trying to save face because it's Europe that's more telling America to leave than America saying we're leaving. Because Europe is getting sick of the American military for the past few generations because they know that there's a lot of Klan and neo-Nazism in the American military. And when they're on leave and they go off base, they do some bad stuff. And the European countries are just sick of them. They would like America to leave, but they have to make it look like it's America's idea because then it would be very disrespectful if they tell them to leave. And last year, Biden signed a treaty that gave Europe permission to make their own military apparatus they don't have to buy it from the American military-industrial complex.
But to be honest with you, Tony, I mean, when you're talking about the Trump administration removing troops, you're talking about support, you're talking about peacekeepers, you're talking about NATO support, you're talking about. I don't know that Europe is thrilled
huge
to
military bases, like they look like cities. And there's like
I'm aware of that, but I'm just saying I don't know that Europe is. Maybe I'm wrong, but what I'm reading in the international press, Europe is not jumping for joy at the loss of U.S. support, i.e., in a situation like defending against Russia, for example.
They just want it to look like that. They want it to look like they're complaining because it's very disrespectful if they were joyful. It's like you cannot spite your protector, so they don't want to spite them, but they're grateful. The general public wants Americans to leave. They're sick of the American military when they go off base the way they act.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so what's your bottom line here? I mean, I don't know if that's true or not true. You're speculating about Europe. What's your bottom line, or what point are you trying to make about the relationship between Europe and the United States?
There's not going to be a war between Europe and Russia because the Russians, they all like to go to Europe and do shopping and buy luxury stuff. So they're not going to have a war with each other because Russians are fancy people now. They're not like poor. They want fancy stuff. They're not going to. The only place they could get is in Europe. They're not going to have a war with each other.
I mean, you can get fancy stuff a lot of places, but yeah, okay. I don't. I mean, it's an interesting analysis. What do you read? What do you watch?
I'm Italian, so I watch the Italian news, and I understand the way they explain the way the military acts in Italy, and they're sick of them in Italy also.
Well, you're talking. Okay, thanks, Tony. You're talking about sounds like individual complaints as opposed to a policy, a government policy. But I guess we'll see. It's all going to unfold right now because of the extreme positions being taken by the President of the United States and his Republican new Confederate administration. Fred from L.A., you have the mic.
Hello, Dominique. Just one thing. You brought it up this morning, and other people have brought it up. Congress appropriates the funds, so why doesn't the administration spend it? Well, me as an administrator, well, I'm not Donald Trump, so I'm going to put myself in Donald Trump's
You're not?
position. No. if something came across my desk and I determined it to be waste, fraud, or abuse, and I sign for it and I approve it, and I pass it through for payment, wouldn't I be as guilty or more guilty than the person that
nice
actually
talking point, Fred.
That? Pardon?
Nice talking point. Congress has the power of the purse. The president has the power to influence the Congress, and they hopefully both abide by the laws of the land. In this case, that is not happening. In our system of government, the Congress appropriates money. If, in fact, the president, the executive branch, had a problem with it, they can audit it. What they do not get to do is unilaterally shut down commitments that the Congress has already made. So while you, Fred, might have the power to shut down your budget at your company that you own or one you work for, the president does not. He can audit the program, and so far, Elon Musk and the president of the United States has not shown any evidence, any data. They haven't even done any studies. They just go, oh, this is waste. We're cutting these people. Whoops, that was the nuclear regulatory team. We need them back. Oh, this is waste. Oh, wait, that was the Ebola mitigation team, which Elon claims was put right back in place, but it was not. Those funds have not been restored. There is no Ebola mitigation program. That is not how our government is set up. We are not a corporation. We are a republic that functions as a democratic republic. That's what we are. If you don't like it, do like Mr. Reedy and do a revolution. But you don't just get to blank out line items because you're the executive. That's not how it works.
The executive administers the money, and the executive should not allow fraud. End of story. And I'll talk
right,
to
but
later.
you don't just get to point your finger and say fraud. Fraud is anything that investigates a company owned by Elon Musk. Fraud is anything that creates theater to make the base believe that they are seeing progress while their own Medicaid is being cut. Fraud is anything that distracts the people while their rights are being stripped from them. Fraud is anything that makes people feel secure even while we have stepped back from our commitment to fight AIDS and Ebola and Mpox and bird flu. They're just saying fraud and making cuts. Where's the data? Where's the evidence? How do we know what you're saying is true? Oh, it's fraud. Take my word for it. I'm Elon Musk, who got $40 billion from the government as a former illegal alien. Y'all complaining about illegal immigrants getting, food vouchers and hotel rooms. This MF came into the country as an undocumented immigrant and got $38 billion out of the public purse, and now he wants to slash jobs, black jobs, black jobs, black jobs. I don't think so. I'm Dominique DiPrima. And, okay, let's see if we can squeeze these folks in before our next hour. We got a lot of folks on the phone. Jerry from Beverly Hills, you got it.
Oh, hi. I'd like to make a comment just for Southern California only. Racial violence by whites against blacks in Southern California is not that many, I don't think. We're violent.
You know what? You would be surprised, Jerry. I love that because, and I think it's what you're responding to is what you see around you, the spirit of people loving each other and working together and all of the good things we see. But if you look at the data from either the LA County Human Rights Commission or the City Human Rights Commission, you will find that violence, white supremacist or racist violence against black people in Southern California is very high, continues to be very high. And
civilians, I'm talking about, not the police.
No, no, I'm not talking about the police right now. I'm talking about community violence. Black people continue to be the number one targets of hate crimes in Southern California, and the number of those hate crimes continues to grow, sadly. I want to go to Patricia calling from Colorado, even though you only got 60 seconds. I'm handing it to you, Patricia.
Yeah, but this is Patricia from Colorado, and the guy said, the man that called talking about the people, sick of the people in Europe. That's not true. I was stationed in Europe for 7 years, and when they had that January 6th, I was watching. I told my friend, those are nothing but police and military. She said, why you know? Because if we climbed that, I was part of my basic training climbing like that. And then now they got all the recruiters trying to tell the kids you need to join. I tell all these kids, black and brown, do not join. Let them white rich people go in there. You get killed, you do nothing. But that's people crazy. And they're making plenty of money off the military overseas. People live off posts. Whoever said they sick of them, no, that's not true. I did 7 years over there.
They're not sick of them because you're saying they're customers.
They make plenty of money off of that.
Yeah, stimulating the environment and the economy. Excuse me. And I agree with you.
What, too? I don't understand how they gonna let that piece of crap from South Africa come here and getting all. He's not even a citizen.
Well, I think he's a citizen now, but your point is taken,
Yeah.
Patricia. Hope you'll call me
All
again.
right.
I'm really interested in your perspective on many things.
Have a good.
And you as well. News, traffic, and sports. And then we will be talking immigration. Yeah, because we're not controversial around here. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Consumers and activists are calling for a 24-hour economic blackout tomorrow to protest corporate greed and reduced support for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Additional boycotts of companies like Amazon, Walmart, and Nestle are planned in the coming weeks. Apple is keeping the company's diversity, equity, and inclusion program in place. The company's shareholders voted to forge ahead Tuesday, opposing efforts by conservatives to get rid of the program. President Trump will terminate the Chevron oil lease with Venezuela on March 1st, citing delays in deportee returns. This reverses a Biden-era agreement and could impact Chevron, the second-largest U.S. oil company. And as spring break approaches, popular destinations include Mexico and the Caribbean. Emerging favorites among U.S. travelers are Rio de Janeiro, Curacao, Tokyo, Osaka, and Istanbul, according to Expedia. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, Cal Hope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. The Clippers snapped a 3-game losing streak with a 122-117 win at Chicago. James Harden dropped 30 points. He had 7 3-pointers. The Clippers had a good shooting night from three-point range. They shot 51%. Amir Coffey had 20 points off the bench. The Clippers and Lakers meet up Friday night at Crypto.com. The Lakers are in action tonight against Minnesota. The UCLA women's basketball team, ranked number 2 in the country, had an easy time at Wisconsin last night. UCLA beat Wisconsin by 30, 91-61. Lauren Betts led the Bruins with 26 points and 10 rebounds. She was almost perfect from the floor, making 11 of 12 shots. The Bruins moved into a first-place tie in the Big Ten Conference with 4th-ranked USC. The win last night sets up Saturday's showdown between UCLA and USC, a game that will decide the Big Ten regular season title. 6 p.m. tip-off at Pauley Pavilion. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need.